Have you ever asked yourself, why am I so cold all the time? I'm going to explain. Hey, I'm Dr. Sten Ekberg with Wellness for Life, and if you'd like to get as healthy as possible by understanding how health really works, then make sure that you subscribe and hit that bell so that you don't miss anything. Have you ever found that you're feeling cold and yet no one else in the room is complaining? You tend to wear a sweater when everyone else has t-shirts. If you're feeling cold all the time, sort of in the whole body, then it is an energy problem. You're simply put, you're not making enough energy. So let's break this down and make it really simple so we can get it. Your cells make energy, and there's three factors that play in terms of your cells making enough energy. The first one has to do with the thyroid, and your thyroid is like the thermostat for the whole body. You have 100 trillion cells in your body, give or take, and every one of those cells have thyroid receptors. And then the thyroid makes thyroid hormone, and the thyroid hormone attaches to the cell and tells the cell how much to do of whatever that cell is doing. So with more thyroid hormone, every cell is going to make a little more. With less thyroid hormone, every cell is going to slow down and do less of whatever that cell is doing. So it's like a thermostat. You increase thyroid, you speed up everything in the body a little bit, you reduce the thyroid output, and you slow down everything in the body a little bit. And this is energy production, heart rate, digestive speed, the production of stomach acid, the rate of healing, the transmission of nerve impulses, you name it. Every cell depends on thyroid hormone, and if it slows down, then everything slows down. So that's part one. Then once the thyroid has kind of placed the order to told the cell what to do, now the cell has two requirements. It needs fuel and it needs oxygen. So the way that we get fuel is obviously from the food that we eat. And if you don't eat anything for a really long time, that's called starvation. If you starve, or if you go on an extended fast, or if you're trying to go on a diet and starve yourself, then your body senses that there's less fuel in the system, and it slows down, it shuts things down gradually to conserve energy, to conserve resources. And that's why it can be difficult to lose weight, for example, by just cutting out how much you eat, the so-called calories, because the less you eat, the more the body tries to conserve, and you're kind of caught in a vicious cycle. But even if you're not starving yourself, you can actually be short on energy for another reason. It's called hypoglycemia. And this happens if you have what's called a blood sugar roller coaster. If your metabolism primarily depends on carbohydrates and sugar for fuel, like most people in the Western world, then what happens is you eat some sugar and carbs, and your body has an insulin response. And that insulin response is going to suppress the blood sugar. It's going to drop the blood sugar. But because sugar is such a stress on the body tends to overcompensate, because it's kind of a crisis when blood sugar goes up. So it overcompensates, and it tries to get it down really, really fast. So now you get a valley, and that's called hypoglycemia. Now you're too low on available fuel, and your body goes screaming, give me something, and you get cravings. And what do you get cravings for? You guessed it, carbs, sugar, bread, snacks, junk food. So the way to get around that is to cut out the junk food, cut out the processed food, cut out the sugar and the carbs, and develop a diet more like a keto or a paleo diet, where you rely more heavily on fat and protein, because that's how the body gets a stable blood sugar level. Once you have a stable blood sugar, that means you have a stable fuel supply for your cells, and you no longer get hypoglycemia, and your body has the available fuel to produce energy. And then we said that the cells need, in addition to the fuel, they need oxygen. And just like anything else in the world that's going to burn, anything that's going to produce energy, it needs oxygen. And in the body, what delivers the oxygen, obviously, is the blood, the red blood cells. And in the red blood cells, the thing that actually carries the oxygen is called hemoglobin. It's a protein. So you could either have a low number of red blood cells, or you could have less hemoglobin in the red blood cells. Either one of those situations is called anemia. That means that your blood doesn't have the capacity to transport enough oxygen. So if you're really anemic, you could lose 20, 30, 40% of your oxygen carrying capacity, and now your cells are constantly starving for energy, because even if it has fuel available, it can't turn the fuel into energy without the oxygen. If you enjoy this kind of information, please share it with others who need to know this. We need to find natural solutions for people's health problems so that we can get off the dependency on drugs and surgery and live the way we're supposed to. If you're new to this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell so that you can keep getting this information and you don't miss anything. If you have comments, questions, etc., please list them below. We really do want to answer those questions, and if you have a topic for a video, I'll be more than happy to make a video on that topic and try to explain how things work. Thank you so much for today.